All right, let's check this out, guys. It's a time to go back, a classic fresh, where everybody has been talking about the era stuff lately. Let's see what Willie has to say about it, guys.
Or so, there is a natural phenomenon that occurs worldwide for vanilla World of Warcraft enjoyers. A migration of sorts, but not a migration north, east, south, or west. This is a migration back in time.
Back to vanilla.
Pretty much whatever version of World of Warcraft, or indeed whatever game is out at the moment, they're going to start to get that feeling that they want to go back to where it all began.
I did
back
Banavator.
to vanilla. We have replayed the original trilogy at this point in time, and whilst each game certainly has their good and not so good parts, it is hard to match up to the original flavor.
True.
And to the allure of a brand new server and a start where everyone is on the same footing.
He's talking about fresh. That's what he's talking about.
So today I'm going to be talking about what's currently going on in the classic scene in regards to fresh, and how you could join this movement now if that is something that you have been thinking about doing. And ultimately, why this has happened now and where it's likely to lead. With all that said though, let's make a start. But first,
I mean, people just enjoy vanilla WoW, man. Like, it's the same. It's been the same thing on like private servers, man. The private server cycle was there's a new server releasing, everybody gets hyped, everybody starts playing, then it gets to like AQ40 and Nax, and people are like, you know what, we could do a new little fresh. New server comes out, everybody migrates over there, and they play again, right? It's like the cycle of vanilla.
just a quick word.
And now people are doing it in their own accord, right? It's a community thing.
And today's sponsor, Elder Scrolls Online. Elder Scrolls Online just had its most recent major content update, the Gold Road, adding in hours of story content to its already expansive universe and tons of new features. The new zone, the West Weald, is a throwback to Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. And
any sunken symbols today? Bro, honestly, it could be fun if we could do it on the Shaman. I don't know if we could keep people for it. If we could, it could be fun to do a sunken symbol, actually. Like one final, try to get some elemental gear.
Areas such as the Gold Road, Dawnwood, Wildburn, and the Colovian Highlands. This new zone offers a variety of new content from characters, challenges, delves, public dungeons, world events, and more. Gold Road features a brand new gameplay system too called scribing.
Wait, did War Within to steal delves from Elder Scrolls Online?
Allows players to gather and customize magical skill through grimoires, which can be used to further modify existing skill lines. The new story arc features the return of a mysterious Daedric prince, Ithelia, who is bent upon unleashing chaos upon Tamriel. And there is a new 12-player trial too, the Lucent Citadel for the PvE enjoyers. There'll be all this and tons more to explore, so click the link below and check out Elder Scrolls Online and the Gold Road update, as well as all of its features today. Many thanks to Elder Scrolls Online for the sponsor today. Let's get back to WoW.
Very nice.
So at this point, it's been near enough 5 years since Blizzard did their own World of Warcraft Classic release, back around September of 2019. And though Vanilla's never really gone away, as TBC and Wrath of the Lich King have, it's never reset either. It's never strictly just been a no changes fresh. We've had Classic era since we moved to TBC, that's gained a fair bit of popularity and has a stable population. And Blizzard have tried adding a bunch of different toppings to the vanilla flavor from other.
I'm really surprised Era actually stayed that popular, because I thought people wouldn't care since it was at Nax.
Game modes from Hardcore,
but people do.
Season of Mastery, and the ongoing Season of Discovery. But typically the vanilla people keep coming back for is kind of none of the above. It's the fresh option, and fresh has been the vehicle that's been getting people back into this game again and again for well over a decade now. And though Blizzard has not jumped on this bandwagon to actively provide fresh, the players have said, fine, we'll do it ourselves. And
I'm honestly really surprised Blizzard hasn't done it. Like, I'm really like it. I don't know why. Maybe it's like an ego thing. Maybe like they just want to do the other stuff. But I'm really surprised they don't just do like a server per year and like maybe like shut down the dead server and like do one server per year where like, you know, they do that. Vanilla doesn't earn them that much money. Maybe that's true. Maybe that might be a reason for it, but I definitely think there is a big group of players that would love that, right? Era somehow keeps your character unique, whether you're a top DPS or just a meme spec. Yeah. Do you feel the ick getting bigger? I mean, listen, man, I'll always be a vanilla player, man. I haven't played it in a while, like, you know, since I think I haven't played it since, like, you know, hardcore and stuff, but dude, I love vanilla WoW, man. I've always loved it.
There have been 2 servers that have been picked for this fresh movement. You have Deviant Delight on North America and Zandalar Tribe on EU.
Yeah.
Note that these are RP PvP servers as well, so you better be at least a little bit into World PvP.
Yeah.
Equally worth a mention while we're here is that Hardcore has also started up again as well. That'll be on Defias Pillager on North America and Stitches on EU.
I'm still not, I think, I don't know, man, maybe sometime after War Within and Sword and stuff like that, maybe like another hardcore meme could be fun, but for the time being, I'm still reloading myself, right?
For Error though, there's a reason that Deviant Delight and Zandalar Tribe were picked. It's specifically because they are RP realms.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying everyone going back to these servers is going there for RP, but you may see it a little more often than what you're used to. You see, back when Classic Error was made, when we were moving into TBC, what happened eventually is that all the PvP servers and all the PvE servers were bundled into these server clusters where you were playing with people across all those different realms. It's kind of like what you see in retail where there's people from different realms everywhere, but this had to happen as back when this decision was made, the population of Classic Era was not looking too good, and ultimately this has been a good thing in the long run. This did not happen to RP servers because there was nothing to bundle RP servers with. If you were there for the RP, you couldn't just be put together with a PvP server because essentially that's a different type of server, and Blizzard have stuck to their guns on that, so good for them, and ultimately it's led to us being able to use those servers now to stimulate a fresh. This more or less meant that these servers were 99.9% dead, and the chance that level 60 copied characters from Era still existed on them was pretty low. And
I have seen a few of like people, like high level people and stuff like that, but I guess at this point everybody that has been leveling on Era probably is almost 60 already. So, yeah.
The fresh movement is still relatively small at the moment, but it's definitely growing. At one point in time, Classic Era was pretty small, and it's been healthy for a good amount of time now. People have to start back out somewhere, after all. And it's more than just for the nostalgia, I'd say, as well. That fresh feeling is genuinely just a great, timeless gameplay loop. And if this whole thing was just nostalgia, it would have run out of steam a long time ago. We're here 5 years...
I do think there's a lot of people still leveling, though, for sure,
after Blizzard's official vanilla release, and who knows however many other servers have released their own vanilla fresh over the years. So why is this happening now though? Why is now the time for fresh? Do you remember when Ulduar came out in Wrath Classic, and at the same time Classic Era started growing, and a lot of people said, it might be because the raiding's starting to get a bit difficult, and that's ultimately not what people are looking for. Well, at the moment we have Cataclysm, which I can only assume has been a catalyst for this movement, as it represents the most sweeping changes this game has seen so far.
Cataclysm is like the big divider of like players, man, because it's not retail, it's not at all vanilla, it's like kind of like an in-between, right? Like it's a weird thing. I know a lot of like classic vanilla people that like just don't even want to play Cataclysm. I enjoy Cata, but I played on one character. I think I'm just gonna raid on my warrior, and that's pretty much it, right? But it's a whole different game, man. It really is a whole different game.
Gameplay systems, raid difficulty, and of course, the updating of the entire old world. And do you know the craziest thing about this whole vanilla fresh thing happening now?
Rujiji actually, guys, is still going to be playing Sod. Rujiji is going to be in the raid team for Sod, by the way. Okay, so Rujiji coming back for Sod, dude.
It's happening during a seasonal server for World of Warcraft, Season of Discovery. If that doesn't kind of tell you that Blizzard might have gone a bit too far to alienate the original vanilla players, then I don't know what does. But at this point in time, Season of Discovery is very much its own thing, and I'll need to do a review on that when all is said and done. For real though, I think this movement could have even begun midway through Wrath, and Wrath...
I think that midway through Wrath is probably where Era started becoming popular, to be fair.
Those overall surprised a lot of people with how far it took the game from its original format, and in retrospect to the Lich King, well, existing in that expansion, kind of carried it pretty hard for a lot of people, and kept it true enough to that original trilogy feeling. And I'm sure in a few years time we're going to start seeing posts online of people saying, man, I miss Wrath of the Lich King. It's happening with TBC at the moment.
I have seen that, man. People are pushing for TBC very heavily as well, man. I mean, TBC was fun. I just think the main problem with TBC is that there's such a big content drought at some point. I do remember that. I think TBC is great though, man, but man, nothing can beat vanilla, man. I'm so sorry for being that guy, but like, why am I like this? I don't know why, dude.
For the past few months, there's been a
Nothing
huge
can beat
amount
it.
of posts cropping up about people missing that version of the game. And it's just like what happened with Classic Era initially. When it first releases, it's completely dead
The TPC is
because
good.
we've just played the game. We're not going to go straight back to it again. But you give it some time that goes by, and it turns out that people will want it back eventually. So how is this fresh thing working then? Well, the community-made fresh servers that I mentioned earlier are stimulating how a new server release would go. And at least content pacing-wise, they're delaying a bit between each major tier, so each phase has some time to breathe. And Blizzard are very much aware this is going on, you know. They even stopped transfers to these servers from other era realms to prevent fully nax-geared players with thousands of gold disrupting the natural flow on these effectively fresh realms.
That's actually a big W from Blizzard. Them like recognizing that people want to do this like fresh thing with the community and stopping transfers is actually really awesome.
Then again, pretty much every fresh ever starts hype right at the beginning and up until the first few weeks of Molten Core. And then it tends to be a few weeks into Blackwing Lair. Pretty much everyone who is there for the hype up period at the start tends to gradually drift off. And
because there's a lot of time before AQ, and AQ is different, man. It is.
The real vanilla enthusiasts for AQ40 and Naxxramas. It kind of goes to show with vanilla, the leveling bit and the pre-bis bit is great and is ultimately pretty timeless, but the end game tends to see a bit of a drop-off. Maybe this isn't just vanilla though, these are just MMOs in general. Whenever do we not see a new release these days which is super hype, and then you wait a few weeks and the player base is halved? Maybe that's just how things are and we can't avoid it. And that vanilla endgame does demand quite a bit of time to be invested. You need to go and farm gold to get your consumables, you need to go and collect your world buffs, which most people will get even if they don't really want to.
World buffs, man, I have such a love-hate relationship with those, man. I love playing with them, but I hate getting, bro. I hate getting them.
Very much an established class meta. If you want to do damage, I hope you picked Warrior. And of course, there's the prospect of ranking again, and I'm not too sure if Battlegrounds are going to be starting other than holiday weekends at the moment. So this fresh thing happens, and it inevitably repeats some 18 months or so later. So the thing is, why isn't Blizzard getting involved? Why aren't they answering the call of fresh and making these servers a reality themselves? Well, they did block transfers to the community project servers for this fresh project. One thing I do have to comment on though is timing. If Blizzard came along and released fresh, it's only going to be fresh for a relatively short period of time. One thing I hope that was learned from Season of Mastery is timing is pretty critical. We have phase 4 of Season of Discovery in about a week from now. This
is going to be that new dungeon, by the way. They're doing some dungeon. I believe this is in Ashenvale and that like corrupted area with the Gromash and whatnot. This is going to be a dungeon apparently.
About a week from now, we have Cataclysm out, which is going along. We'll probably see Firelands pretty soon.
I believe it's in Ashenvale. Or maybe it is in Philwood. Maybe it looks like that's a place in the southeastern Ashenvale.
And there's even the war within afterwards. Fresh vanilla now really has to be for the people who are gonna drop everything for a fresh, not for the people who are trying out if there's not really that much going on at the moment. And at the moment, there is a lot going on, I would say. And if Blizzard decide the dates, they kind of have to compete with their own games. In fact, if Blizzard did release fresh now, I guarantee you people would say, why are you doing it now? This timing is terrible. Whereas
it would be weird timing. They would have to time it in between something or like in a content route or something, because there's SOD, there's War Within, right, and stuff like that. It would have to be sometime after War Within or something, right, if they were to do that.
Community driven.
I kind of hope War Within will be POG. Would be nice to go back to retail. I mean, I'll play War Within, I'll give it a try. I'm not like hyped like, oh my god, War Within, let's go, but I mean, I'll play it. I'll try it out. Let's see what's up. I don't hate retail. I think retail can be fine. It can be good.
And fresh can really just be whenever enough people agree on it, and if you want in, word of mouth usually does enough to get a decent population in there. It's a similar deal with hardcore, except hardcore is generally a bit more solo play friendly due to the nature of the challenge. So
I do think though hardcore is the same. Like, people are way more excited about hardcore if there's a lot of people playing it, right? Because there's the guilds, there's like dungeons together, you're talking to people, right? Like, hardcore does need that big community hype as well for it to be really, really tight, right?
Wouldn't really be a point doing fresh hardcore realms. As for not putting out new fresh era servers, I don't think it's cost related. There were over 24 classic era realms collecting dust for well over a year before people started going back to them. I'd assume costs start happening the more people are on the servers, not just purely the existence of the servers. Maybe Blizzard thinks fresh is risky. I mean, classic era took ages to get going again, but then again, vanilla has proven itself the most timeless version of WoW. Or perhaps it's just not as simple as we're all making it out to be. Imagine if they wanted to do era realms for TBC or Wrath. Each game would need a different client installed and would need to have its own place on the Battle.net launcher. We already have WoW Classic with all its different versions and Kata and retail on there. I mean, there's no reason we couldn't have a TBC or Wrath section on there as well, but it just might look a bit messy, perhaps. In any event, the servers we have at the moment stimulating that fresh experience may not be truly fresh, but I think a community movement to make them happen, at least right now at this point in time, is ultimately the best thing for them. And for me, the main issue I'd have is simply the point in time that they've chosen for these servers to take back off. Ultimately, fresh isn't fresh for too long, and there is quite a lot of other things going on in the Warcraft universe. But if one fresh movement's happened now, I'm sure there will be another in the future at some point.
There will always be a new fresh movement happening, like every year, every 2-3 years, right?
In time. So is this whole fresh cycle just going to go on forever on classic era realms? I mean, it may well do if Blizzard doesn't provide anything which is actually new. And we've seen with vanilla and different versions of World of Warcraft that after enough time passes, people just want to go back and play those games again with a clean...
We're gonna run out of like servers. We're gonna run out of dead servers because they're gonna go from one server the next year to another one, and then eventually, that's what it goes with crack addicts. They always come back. Hey man, it's a good game, dude. Okay, Hello News. What can I say?
Slate to see how the classes played at that point in time, the raids, and just to be part of the world which existed back then. Almost like a little bit of a time capsule. Classic
WoW just has to become a seasonal game. In a way, I think so, man. Just like a fresh every other year, whatever the heck, and people are happy, right? That's pretty much it.
Been playing World of Warcraft for near enough 2 decades.
I don't really know how OSRS does it. I think OSRS is like the whole Classic Plus thing, though, that they kind of like made that whole thing a thing, right?
Decades and vanilla for about the same amount of time, so I don't think the idea behind enjoying fresh is going anywhere anytime soon. I only think the mysterious Classic Plus could really disrupt the cycle, but maybe we're getting another seasonal server after Discovery. We'll have to wait and see. But if you have been feeling that feel for some good old vanilla once again, it's Deviate Delight to North America or Zandalar Tribe EU. And for Hardcore, Defias Pillager North America and Stitches for EU. Those are your servers. If that's something you want to do, they're going to be more active now than they will be in a while. Maybe
OSRS has a lot of new content which gets pulled by the community. I think that's a great way of doing it, man. I don't know, if WoW ever would go down that route, that could be kind of tight.
Blizzard will answer the call one day and do their own version of Vanilla Fresh. But if you've been wanting to go back, then those are your choices for Vanilla. Let me know if you've been trying out the Fresh servers, whether you've been thinking about going back to them at all, and do you think Blizzard should invest the time in putting out their own Fresh servers, or some kind of servers on a rotation? It doesn't even just have to be for Vanilla. It could be Vanilla through Wrath of the Lich King, for example. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below. And thanks once again to Elder Scrolls Online for sponsoring the video today. You'll be able to find the links for them below as well. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Very soon.
Very soon.
OSRS is more horizontal, though. It's easier to add stuff without missing the balance. That's fair enough. I'm not too big on RuneScape. I haven't played it really, like, ever, so I can't really speak too much about that. So I don't really know. I'm not gonna, like, try to, like, pretend like I know, right, if it's good or bad or whatever the heck. But I know it's popular, right? But I could see people wanting to do, like, a fresh every now and again and stuff like that.